mustache is gone again. Hey guys, what's up? It's the Culture Detective here, investigating your favorite movies, and today I'm gonna be doing a movie review on Her. In the year 2013, written and directed by Spike Jonze, husband of Sofia Coppola and son-in-law of Francis Ford Coppola, who, if you don't know, made and directed The Godfather Parts 1 and 2. Also, Sofia Coppola directed Lost in Translation, which is also a movie about romance and not knowing what to do with love. So now we have her counterpart also doing a similar movie, a love movie, a movie about love, a movie about romance, a movie about what is love and romance. Why are we doing this? Why are we socializing? What's the meaning? What's the purpose behind all of this? And now we have Her, which is a movie set in a distant future, not really a dystopian future. Neither can I say it's a utopian future, but I think it's more utopian than it is dystopian. Basically, everything looks fancier, everything looks cooler and more simplistic and more minimalistic. Everybody is absorbed into their own gadgets and electronics. And even though there are still people in the world that actually has friends and, family and lovers, but not as many as present day. And I really, really love that. I think the future being depicted in the movie is extremely accurate, even though I really don't know what would actually happen and how the world would look like in the future. This movie just feels so accurate. And the plot basically focuses on a man named Theodore who had just broken up with his wife quite some time ago, and he's all lonely now. He works as a love letter writer because people then in the future doesn't actually write letters. They hire a person to write a letter for them to their lover. So it's a love letter writer. Anyway, Theodore is a love letter writer. He's lonely and he wanted a girlfriend. That's all he wanted. And so he bought and purchased this OS, operating system. It's basically a computer, an AI, but without a body. And he and this AI, this OS, can communicate and they can have fun and develop this relationship. And it's going to be fantastic. He's going to be less lonely. And this OS is voiced by Scarlett Johansson, so that's also a thing that's pretty cool. Throughout the entire 2 hours of the movie, we see Theodore handling different situations, handling himself, being lonely, handling Samantha, who's the name of the OS that he purchased, and handling some other affairs, and how the whole thing ended is just something that you wouldn't predict. So that's the plot. Now, let's talk about the performances first. I think Joaquin Phoenix totally killed it as Theodore. He's just a fantastic actor, one of the most underrated actors of our generation. If you have seen him in The Master, or if you have seen him in the mockumentary I Am Here, check him out. Definitely check him out. And he's fantastic in this movie as well. He really shows the vulnerable side of Theodore a lot. And we also have Scarlett Johansson voice acting. We also have Amy Adams acting as Theodore's friend, whose name is also Amy. And Amy's boyfriend was the Eobard Thawne guy from The Flash, I think. And Chris Pratt also plays a minor role in the movie. This boss, the boss of the love letter company, and who has a real girlfriend. And we also have Rooney Mara playing Theodore's ex-wife. And we also have Olivia Wilde playing this random role, this blind date who ended up calling him a creep and leaving him even more alone and bitter. And man, that scene was tough. At first, in the blind date scene, things are going really well. Theodore and Olivia Wilde's character were laughing, having fun, joking around, and then all of a sudden it just ends so abruptly, confusingly, and it just makes him even lonelier and sadder. And it just, I can really sympathize with that because I'm single, you know? I'm 16 and a half and I'm still single. And I'm struggling with relationships as well. I've never dated anyone, by the way. Yeah, I don't want to get too personal in this review, but I'm just saying that I'm single, and when I saw this movie, it just makes me feel so lonely and sad. It's just, oh man, oh. I think that's the reason why this movie is such a humane movie, even though it revolves a lot around artificial intelligence. It's so humane because it explores themes of loneliness, sadness, love, and it tries to fathom these feelings, you know? Also, the visuals in this movie are pretty great, not gonna lie. It's a really accurate depiction of the future again, and I wonder where are the filming locations for the movie, because I know for a fact that a bulk of this movie aren't CGI. Probably the whole thing aren't CGI. But I wonder, where did Spike Jonze film this? Like the city just looks so futuristic and cutting edge and so fancy. It's like where is it? And I think the editing is fantastic as well. There are all these short blurry snippets of video clips of Theodore and Catherine, who's his ex-wife, of them having fun, hugging each other, talking in joy, and these are like the flashbacks that Theodore would have when he remembers his very beautiful past and his really sad now, and that's really, really sad. Also, one great scene I think would be the first time Theodore had sex with the OS. And he's essentially having sex with a computer who has a voice. So it's not like a really physical thing. He's basically lying in bed and he's talking to the OS with an earpiece, and then the scene fades to black while the audio continues. So it just leaves us to imagine the scene ourselves, and that's pretty creative. Also, there's another scene where Samantha, the OS, basically suggested that Theodore should hire this surrogate person to have sex with him for her. It's this surrogate OS sex thing. And the person who played the surrogate is Portia Doubleday. You may have seen her in Mr. Robot. Anyway, that scene is so uncomfortable. It's so uncomfortable. Not going to lie. It's just something's not right, man. Something's not right. And at the end of the scene, Theodore also felt like something wasn't right, and he basically turned down the whole sex thing, and it's just this uncomfortable meltdown for Portia Doubleday's character. Yeah, anyway, I still really, really love this movie. It's an odd movie. It's a really weird movie with a weird theme. But at the end of the day, it's so humane. It has feelings, man. It has feelings that root deep in our body, in our hearts. The ending of the movie, even though at the end I feel like I shouldn't spoil it, but the ending, it's like we have finally reached this state of trance. The ending feels transcendent because, suddenly, even though we are not loved like directly by a person, it's still this humane feeling. Love, this is what it means to love, this is what it means to socialize, and it's this very human thing that you can't just wait for it to happen. You must be in it, you know? Yeah, anyway, that's the vibe that the ending kind of gave me. So yes, overall, I love this movie. I think the screenplay is fantastic. I forgot to mention how amazing the dialogues are in the movie, how natural they feel, how smooth they are. What makes the dialogues in this movie so realistic is that they are not afraid to get weird. They're not afraid to go to these weird corners. Usually mediocre dialogue, they are pretty shallow. They only dive into these, pretty, shallow topics, and they don't go anywhere that weird or that deep. But you know, again, Mr. Robot. The screenplay kind of reminds me of Mr. Robot in that the dialogues aren't afraid to get weird. For instance, there's a scene where Theodore and his OS Samantha went to the beach and they started chatting, and Samantha was like, "Hey, have you ever thought about this? What if somebody's armpit is a butthole?" And Theodore was like, "Haha, yeah. I'm trying to imagine what the toilet would look like, what the bathroom would look like," and that is so unrelated to the overall theme and the overall plot of the movie. But yet, it really portrays how a romantic relationship would happen. Sometimes they would crack silly jokes at one another, and it would get weird. But that's all a part of the relationship. And yes, I really like this movie. Even though it's a slow burn, it's still fantastic. It's still beautiful, absolutely emotional, and very humane. I have to say, I am saying Her is a movie worth watching, and I'm giving it a strong 9 out of 10. So, have you watched Her? From 1 to 10, how much did you rate it? Like if you like it, and subscribe if you want more. And thanks for watching.